I came to Shenzhen in September 1995 to do my dissertation research. I stayed for many reasons. And I did a lot of different things because one of the things that happened in Shenzhen in the 90s and 2000s is there were a lot of opportunities. The city goes from really being a small town located at the border to being a special economic zone to being a large city. One of the huge changes was speed of transportation and convenience. The language has been standardized, so it went from having 3 dialects to everyone speaking Mandarin. And it also went from being a center of manufacturing to being a center of creativity. Before 2005, the key industries in the city were manufacturing, some logistics, and real estate development. However, after 2005, the city started deindustrializing and they started bringing in more white-collar workers. And people are still using their hands, but then they were using their hands to do design. I remember when Shenzhen was really popular and people would say, you know, what's creative about Foxconn in Shenzhen? And I would say, Foxconn did not invent the iPhone. This is true. But Foxconn invented a way to produce iPhones for the entire world. Shenzhen spirit, Shenzhen精神really referred to 闯, like path breaking. It referred to this courage to come, to leave a work unit, to not have a job and just come and try and do something. I think Shenzhen people are really willing to work together to do interesting things. I think it's a really great place to work with other people to do cool stuff, right? They're very eager, they're generous. Shenzhen does group creativity really well. And it's constantly being criticized for not having enough creative individuals. People will say, where are the artists? Where are the big entrepreneurs? But in fact, if you look closely at social creativity, Shenzhen does social creativity really well. Urban villages are actually really creative. In the 80s and 90s, there was not enough housing for the number of migrants that were coming to the city. The only places where they were building housing quickly and cheaply were on the village's plat. One Jaijidi, one plat, and they turned it into the first and second floor restaurants and shops and then housing and built very vibrant street lives. Even today, half of the population lives in the villages. You can think of them as collective creative responses to the changing needs of the city. Urban villages are beautiful. When we're thinking about the beautiful, too often we think only with our eyes. But there are many ways to look at beauty and what makes people comfortable and what makes people feel at home. And I think there are many ways of looking at what is beautiful in Shenzhen. During the fall, Shenzhen is a place where migratory birds stop and you can hear them outside. And so wherever there are a lot of trees, I really like the fact that all the bathrooms in Shenzhen are really clean and they have soap and they have toilet paper. I actually like the night markets in the urban villages because when you go in at like after 7 o'clock at night, it's all this food and like these lights and you go by a stand and there's all these different foods and it's really beautiful. I think one of the things that people, especially in large modern cities, forget is that you do have 5 senses, right? People in modern cities really do think it's all about eyes. But I think there is a form of creativity which is where I interact with you, and based on this interaction we can make new things that belong to both of us. What we really need is a new way of stimulating group creativity. We really need new ways of making more people participate in the city. And this is what Handshake is trying to do. Continue working with Wenyuan and Shekou Car Free Day and continue to do cultural geography and kind of see what happens. I know that everyone says 来了就是深圳人. So it's like come and you are a Shenzhener. But it's when you can't go home, you're a Shenzhener.